History does not remember blood.
Season 1 of the Game of Thrones prequel finished with a bang. Or a dragon snap, anyway. After 10 episodes, House of the Dragon has established its core cast, introduced us to 3 generations of Targaryens, and laid the groundwork for a civil war that looks set to consume Westeros, as well as the next few seasons of the show.
Go to it then.
In real life, it would sound perverse, but in a Game of Thrones spin-off, it's positively a compliment to note that it's delivered the dragon-related mayhem, family plotting, and murder that we hoped for. Set some 200 years before Thrones, House of the Dragon had a huge amount of world building to do, though viewers at least arrived with a basic understanding that all those platinum blondes might have something to do with Daenerys. Sure enough, her Targaryen ancestors are here at the height of their power on Westeros, ruling unopposed because the alternative is being toasted to a crisp. Showrunners Ryan Condal and Miguel Sapochnik set the tone with an opening episode that offered grisly violence, royal plotting, and medieval pageantry. And a small blonde girl on a dragon, lest we forget where we're coming from. The ties to Game of Thrones were obvious and immediate in those early episodes, down to the reuse of Ramin Djawadi's iconic theme music. But the brand new cast and the focus on a family already in power but riven against itself felt fresher.
Yet everything I've given you, you've thrown back in my face!
You've only ever tried to send me away to the Vale, to the City Watch, anywhere but by your side.
That's not to say it was always smooth sailing. Even the showrunners seemed to understand this first season as a slow burn, and recently promised that next season would pick up the pace.
Targaryen must understand this to be king or queen.
Some episodes dragged, and the shift from the immensely likable and charismatic Millie Alcock and Emily Carey to Emma Darcy and Olivia Cook, as Rhaenyra and Alicent respectively grew up, took a disjointed minute to process. But to the credit of the cast and creators, they've covered 20-odd years of Targaryen family history without stinting on the requisite plotting and gore. Not bad for 10 episodes. The show has also faced, mostly with success, its core problem. The Targaryens make less sympathetic leads than Game of Thrones' Starks. Ned's family stuck together. They also didn't sleep with each other, leading to, for example, cases where one's son is also one's great-nephew.
I may have lost an eye, but I gained a dragon.
To overcome the ick factor of the incest, the show has gone out of its way to make at least some Targaryens likable. Paddy Considine is an actor who can't help but draw you in, so his Viserys, even in moments of selfishness or foolishness, remained sympathetic.
I love you.
Rhaenyra, whether played by Alcock or Darcy, is similarly well-meaning, even if her reserve means that few outside her immediate family realize it.
Everyone says Targaryens are closer to gods than to men. But they say that because of our dragons. Without them, we're just like everyone else.
And even Matt Smith's Daemon is an uncannily shrewd judge of character, for all his intemperate outbursts, violent tendencies, and immoral ways. Against that, however, the show makes Alicent's offspring significantly more grotesque than they were in George R.R. Martin's Fire and Blood.
To these 3 strong boys.
I dare you to say that again.
Why? Do you not think yourself strong?
They weren't what you'd call nice kids even there, but neither did they show quite the depths of depravity that Aegon Targaryen does on screen.
Do you know how the act is done? I assume. At least in principle. I had to put your and all that.
Let it be, cousin.
Nor appear quite so outrageously sinister as Ewan Mitchell's Aemond.
Nephews? Have you come to train?
They're matched by Larys Strong, schemer, sadist, and foot fetishist. At least that's an original twist on the basic model plotter.
One of the little spiders is your lady-in-waiting.
Not everything has been as clearly laid out. The idea of Greens supporting Alicent and Blacks supporting Rhaenyra might have worked better if there had been much sign of house colors being significant at any point before or after Alicent came to dinner in a nice new look. Similarly, the fundamental point of differentiation between the Targaryens and their allies, the Valyrians, and everyone else is the fact that they have dragons. And that too has been strangely underplayed. It's not totally absent though. House of the Dragon has faithfully delivered the dragon bit of its promise. But what has been under-examined is what those relations between beast and rider mean beyond mere firepower. Pun intended. Perhaps, despite the slow build, that was too much to fit in this season. Perhaps it will come. Perhaps, too, the show's rather frequent and obvious callbacks to Game of Thrones will ease off now that it's established its own characters and identity. But enough nitpicking. House of the Dragon has managed to take Martin's deliberately dry pseudo-history and turn it into a character-led drama that could be every bit as thrilling as Thrones, and that's impressive in itself. What's even better is that we will look back on this season, despite the riots and dragon action and sea battles, as the calm before the storm. Next season, the Targaryens go to war. We have around 2 years before we get to see it, but if they nail the Dance of the Dragons, it's going to be worth the wait. Early on, it sometimes felt too faithful to its predecessor, but after 10 episodes, House of the Dragon has forged its own identity and established itself as a worthy prequel of Game of Thrones. That's largely thanks to strong writing, a wildly overqualified cast, and a veritable flock of dragons. Here's hoping for more of the same next time, but a little more confidence too. They've earned it. For more fantasy reviews, check out what we thought of The Lord of the Rings of Power, and The Sandman. For everything else, stick with IGN.